Alrighty folks, coming at you guys today with another patch notes breakdown video. They just released like an hour, it says yesterday here, but it was actually just like an hour ago. They just released these version 1.5.7 patch notes, including the new Prize Fighter Crunch skin, which is pretty sick. That is a really sweet skin, to be fair, Prize Fighter Crunch. But 1.5.7 coming out May 20th, that is this coming Tuesday. Not an insane patch size-wise, but there are a lot of hero and item balance changes that we're going to go over, and we're going to discuss what I think they're going to do to the meta and how they're going to tighten the meta up some other minor changes too, but let's go through it. I have not looked through all of these yet. Let's get right into it and talk about these changes, folks. Greetings, champions! We had a nice round of adjustments lined up, covering a multitude of items and heroes, with a spotlight, of course, on Wukong, who somehow managed to be both the best and worst thing to happen to Predecessor, depending on who you ask. I can't imagine he's getting buffs, right? There's no way he's getting buffs. Isn't packed with content as some of our previous updates. That's intentional. We've chosen to place a stronger focus on balancing aspect. Thank you for that. Reserving the bulk of new features for our larger milestone update. So yeah, 1.6 coming probably in another 3 weeks or so, I would think, and we'll probably get one of those new heroes, as well as potentially a new battle pass. Who knows what they've got lined up for us. But in this patch, we've got new skins. We've got Skylar's community-driven redesign. Skylar's getting a completely new player model, which they already alluded to and showed off plenty in the previous dev stream. Surprise new Wukong announcer. Wukong announcer is interesting. We'll see how that goes. I'd like them to add more voice announcers for sure. Simplified hero selection screen. So let's get right into it. Thanks everybody for stopping by, checking out the patch notes. Thanks to all the support on the recent tier list video. A lot of people have been enjoying that, commenting on it. Share your thoughts on that video as well if you have not seen it already. Check that one up. Check that one out to see where I've got all the heroes placed prior to this patch. We'll see how much this patch changes things, and we will discuss that when the time comes. We'll probably do a tier list update about a week or so after this update launches next Tuesday. So yeah, new skins, not too many of them. Okay, yep, some esports themed skins for these heroes: Gideon, Ramp, Shinbi, Sparrow, Zinx. That's great. I mean, the skins are going to be absurdly overpriced, so I wouldn't get too excited about them. Here is the Skylar redesign. Liked old Skylar? Don't panic. The classic Skylar design isn't going anywhere either. Okay, so that's one thing I was wondering, if they were going to remove the old design of Skylar. But this is the new Skylar design. She's more of like a rebel mechanic design. They talked about it in the previous 1.5 reveal dev stream, and they showed all the hand-drawn player models and all this stuff that they were looking at. So new gun, new like jetpack. The jetpack's significantly bigger as well and stands out more, and just a complete new look to Skylar. So definitely interesting. Here's one thing that we were not expecting for sure. Wukong joins the mic. To mark the milestone of the final Paragon Heroes release, we've added a little something extra. We've heard all the feedback on the current announcer voice. Some of you love it, some not so much, and some barely notice it anymore. But with 1.5, that's about to change. Starting at 1.5.7, a highly anticipated Monkey King will now talk to you seriously. That's right, Wukong is joining the game as an optional announcer voice. He'll call the shots, hype you up, mock your enemies, and even sing you to sleep. Wait, okay, maybe not that last one. Little goobery in the writing here, but we will see what this looks like. It's only available for a limited time, so don't miss your chance to have the Monkey King call. It's limited time. Will he return in the future? That depends. Obviously, he will. You don't go through all the work to make all of these voice line calls and then just drop him for a limited time and then make it disappear, so we might just be convinced to make a comeback. This is guys, I mean, who's falling for that? Let's go through all the work to make Wukong announcer voice for all the calls and then just give it a limited time. No, that's, come on, let's be honest, guys. New hero selection screen. They don't show it here, but we will see what that looks like when we get into our first game after this patch. So that's it for all the skins and general stuff. The meat and bulk of this patch is hero and item balance changes. So let's hop right now into the hero balance changes, talk about them, see what we think, if they're enough, if they're too much in certain cases. Aurora. I think Aurora's in a good spot right now. Let's see what they've done to her. Her Horror Frost, this is the ring, or what is... yeah, I think this is the ring, right? Cooldown increased. Disruptive in fight, constant damage. Too much presence in fights. So the ring getting a longer cooldown. I think this is the ring. Getting a second longer cooldown. And then the Royal Sweep. This is the side-to-side damage ability. Getting a longer cooldown as well in the late game, but not in the early game. So yeah, I mean, 1 second longer. Doesn't really matter too much. You're probably building a lot of haste on her anyway. Countess. She's been too strong for a while, let's be honest. Insane matches recently with Countess for sure. Health increased, physical armor increased, or physical armor growth decreased, and mana regen decreased. So a little bit more health and armor at the beginning of the game, less mana regen. Eventide, the wave ability, cooldown decreased by a second is kind of crazy. And then the Blade Siphon, healing decreased. Mana cost increased, cooldown decreased. So they're giving her shorter... this says decrease, it means to say increased. Okay. So they're giving her heal ability, the area siphon around her, longer cooldown and less healing and more mana cost, but they're giving the wave a second shorter cooldown. I don't think this really changes her much. I think she's already really strong, like just mechanically, and I don't think this really hurts or helps her very much overall, because you're already probably building like Magnify or Overseer or both, or Lifebinder for healing, so this is kind of inconsequential. We'll see. I don't think that hurts Countess at all. Drongo continued to struggle to find his place among the carries. Hey, some Drongo buffs. Here we go. Old Rusty, damage increased. Nice. By 5 at all ranks, but you got to keep in mind it'll hit twice, so that's really 10 at all ranks, which is pretty sizable in the early game. 10 extra damage to lane minions and the enemy hero if you hit them twice, and a cooldown decrease by a second is quite nice. May return to one of these stronger wave clear abilities that carries have, competing with Sparrow's Arrow Rain. And then his ult, damage increased, oh my gosh. What? Oh my gosh, look at that level 3 damage. It's going from... Okay, this is a misprint. This is supposed to say 350, not 250, to 400. That's still 400 base damage. Bonus physical power scaling increased to 90. That is crazy. His ult is actually going to be able to hit super hard now, so that's cool. We'll take that for sure. Gadget. See some minor round of changes. Early seek and destroy spam, since the previous increase in its homing speed has resulted in becoming far more reliable, so... Base mana reduced. Stacks to gain 1... Okay, so now it takes 6 stacks to gain 1 power instead of 5, so a little bit less crazy late game potency. And then the seek and destroy slow decreased from 25 to 20. That's good, because a lot of times it would stick to you way too hard. I like the extra homing that they did add to it, but the slow is kind of brutal. Definitely still incentivizes you to build Dreambinder, though, to slow people down. Howie. Slow grenades, additional mine damage decrease, so if they hit multiple, it does less additional damage, additional mine. Magical power scaling decreased as well, so if you run into the entire stack of mines, it doesn't do as much damage. And then the ultimate, total magical power scaling decreased just slightly, so... A little bit less mine damage, a little bit less ultimate damage. I think Howie was in a decent spot. I don't think that really hurts him much. It's a pretty minor reduction. Given his slow start, Iggy currently receives a little benefit from investing points into his flame turret and oil spill, resulting in his ability progression throughout the match feeling a little bit flat. Iggy buffs? There's no way they're giving Iggy buffs, right? Cooldown decrease. Why do they keep doing this? Well, legitimately, why do they keep doing this? 2 patches ago, his current leveling scaled like this, where you got it on a shorter cooldown when you leveled it. And then they were said, nah, let's take it to flat 20. Now they say, oh, let's take it back to scaling with level. Why? Why do we do this? Why do we go back and forth like this? It's so weird. Like, because you clearly had a motive to make that change the first time. You clearly had some sort of game design purpose to go from it scaling like this to being a flat 20. Who knows what it was? And then you realize a couple patches later that your motive was incorrect. I don't know how that works out. Oil spill damage increased as you level it a little bit better and getting better scaling. Okay, the oil slick probably hit a little bit harder now for sure. And then the ult bonus movement speed increased with level. So 30% is pretty significant. Okay, it's cool. Iggy buffs, nice Iggy buffs. We'll definitely take them. I like Iggy. I'm sure some people will be pissed about those. Kallari. Starting health decrease, health growth decrease. Good. Kallari should be squishier. Shadow Dance, bonus physical power scaling decreased. And Death Mark, damage multiplier decreased from 2 times to 1.75. Okay, that's pretty fair because it got a shorter cooldown next patch. This is her jump ability where she jumps up and then locks on somebody. It got a shorter cooldown, so it should deal less damage. And then less starting health is fine for Kallari as well. Kallari's been in a good spot, still very playable, very solid late game. Kira, basic attack time increased from 1.4 to 1.5. Kira was due for some nerfs. She's the clear-cut strongest carry right now. And then Mercy, total physical power scaling decreased from 80 up to 100 to 80 to 90. You're still leveling this first, right? But basic attacks, yeah. I think she'll still be strong. These nerfs probably bring her in line. As long as some of the other carries don't get sizable nerfs, or sizable buffs, I should say, she'll probably still be the top carry, I would think. It's just, the kit's so good right now. Pelika, attack speed decreased. Oh, wow, the last round of auto attack nerfs weren't enough. Okay. Health decreased on the Void drone. That's good because 10 was kind of oppressive. Void bomb cooldown increased. Same at late game, a second longer in the early game is probably fair. This probably brings Pelika in line. I think she was just a little edge above everyone else for the most part in the mid lane role due to her oppressive auto attacks. And I think this Void Bomb 1 second longer cooldown at rank 1 is pretty nice because if you don't level it, then you get punished. So I'll take that. Morn, clearly been OP since the last round of buffs. Bonus, this is Contagion. The heal and armor bonus. Bonus armor scalings decrease from 10% to 8%. Okay. So a little bit less bonus armor when you're healing your allies and stuff. And then the abduct throw animation speed is 25% faster. Vine projectile speed decreased by 5%. Okay, that probably makes it look better. The thing about his pull is it looks so weird because you wind it up and then it has a weird animation. It comes out at a weird time in the animation and it moves really fast. So decreasing the vine projectile but the actual throw animation being faster will probably feel a lot better. I'm surprised that's all the nerfs he gets is to the armor scaling bonus on Contagion because he is really strong right now. We'll see how that pans out. I think he'll still be quite strong. Murdock, basic attack time. We don't know how to balance the carries. What do we do? Let's just make all of their autos a little bit slower and see if that fixes it. Hot Pursuit duration decreased from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. That probably brings Murdock into a better spot too. 5 seconds is quite long for that, but it is not like an insane move speed boost. It's a marginal move speed boost. So 5 seconds didn't really feel too bad, but making him auto a little bit slower just because he's one of the better carries seems like a band-aid fix. But you know, what do I know? Muriel, health increase by 15. Yippee. Magical power scaling increased on the Serenity. Magical power scaling increased. I mean, after they nerfed her ult last patch, it kind of hurt her, but I think she's still decent. She's still very usable. Yeah. So, I mean, just do a little extra damage. I guess Muriel already does good damage, so. Skylar, default model updated, movement speed increased. Okay. Oh, a lot of Skylar changes here. Plasma grenade, initial hit damage increased by a significant amount early, not too much late. Explosion bonus, physical power scaling increased. Okay. Cooldown decreased by a second in late game. So, better scaling and better damage on the grenade, and a second shorter cooldown late game is quite nice. Air assault, missile damage decrease, but the scaling is increased from 10% to 18%. That's pretty sizable, but I don't know if it makes up for the initial damage loss right there. And missile magic power scaling increased as well. Okay, so yeah, that's fair. Hyperdrive, the beam, bonus physical power scaling increased, and beam radius and hitbox increased by 10%. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, that's quite, that's nice usability. 10% better hitbox on the beam. I mean, Skylar's going to be good. They want her to be good, obviously, because she got the new model, and they want everybody to be all hyped for her. So this should make her better. Makes her scale better into the late game for sure. Shorter cooldown on the grenade. Free 5 movement speed. We'll take it. I like playing Skylar a lot. So Sparrow, heightened senses, total physical power scaling increased 20 to 25. This is the long range shot, right? Maybe heightened senses. Yeah, I think that's the long range shot, right? That's not the auto attack stem. It's not the rain of arrows, so. And then, so yeah, a little extra scaling there. And then inner fire, her ult, center arrow, bonus physical power scaling increased. Okay, so side arrow, bonus physical power scaling increased. Okay. Self slow while active decreased by just slightly. So, I don't know, her ult already does what it does good, and, you know, already has its drawbacks for hitting it. You don't want to hit it every time, but a little extra damage, especially scaling into the late game, we will take that for sure. Twin, his basic attacks, bonus physical power scaling increased from 90 to 95. So what is that, 47.5 each? Because it was 45 each, so now it's 47.5 each to get him to 95% scaling. Sure, why not? Wraith, okay. Wraith, we don't know what we're doing with Wraith. Let's make him a support. Oh, mana regen decreased. Oh my gosh. Okay, so more base mana, less mana regen at level 1 is kind of wild. I don't know why you would do that. He's already struggles with mana management. Mark, max health damage decreased from 4 scaling up to 7 to 4 scaling up to 6. So, wow. I guess some Wraith nerfs were due, because I know at the high level he is definitely a menace. Like this, I continues to be a menace in high skill lobbies. Yeah, he's got to get banned. And if you're playing in Diamond Paragon, he's got to get banned every single time. So this is understandable. But his mana management is rough. So this is going to hurt the not as experienced players who are trying to try him out, because he's already tough to use for sure. Wukong, a lot of changes for Wukong here. Who could have guessed he's too strong, folks? Not anyone who's seen any hero release of the last 15. Health decreased by 15, physical armor decreased by 2 at level 1. His basic attack, bonus physical power scaling decreased to 85. Yep, that's probably reasonable. 90% scaling on his autos is quite strong. Pole vault, this is the jump that gives you attack speed boost. Cooldown increased by a second at all ranks. Pretty fair. High impact, this is the ground slam, right? Damage decreased from damage decreased just slightly, 10, and then 5% less scaling. Cooldown increased as well by a second, or just a second early. Yeah, just a second early. 12 to 13 in the early game. Okay, damage decreased. Again, 10 less flat damage on his... This is the stun? Yeah. This is the stun, cycle breaker. Damage reduction decreased from 35 to 30. Cycle breaker, that is the stun, right? Damage reduction decreased. Okay, so just a general decrease, and then the push gets better scaling. Gets 100% scaling instead of 90. And then wind surge. This is the damage decrease. This is the... anyway, there's so many names on all these abilities, it's hard to keep track of which is which, but the general thing is damage decreased on just about everything, and then also a second longer cooldown on a couple abilities, and 5% less auto attack scaling, and a little bit less health and armor to start the game off with. That's probably balanced. That's probably where he needs to be. Like I said in my tier list video, he is strong just as every hero is strong when they get released, but I didn't feel like he was completely broken, overpowered, and I think that after the first round of buffs, he'll be in an okay spot, and I do maintain that opinion that I think after this first round of buffs right here, he'll probably be in the spot that they want him in, I would think. Yin. We've got a nerfer. She's too good in the top tier lobbies. Now, let's see. They may have actually buffed her here. Lash kick. Damage increased in the late game a little bit. This is the whip pull, right? This is the pulls you to them. Bonus physical power scaling increased from 120 to 140. So yeah, this actually will hit kind of hard, which it realistically needs to, because they removed the root from it, which it really hurt it. Windburn. This is the stem that gives you longer range. Max health damage increased from 3 scaling up to 5 to 3 scaling up to 6. Nice. So it's better than Sky Splitter. It's better than a free Sky Splitter, basically. That she just gets as a passive. So we will definitely take that. I like playing Yin, so I don't mind seeing her a little bit stronger. And then the deflect damage increased by a reasonable amount. 15 at all ranks is not bad. So Yin, she's not the easiest hero to use, but she is very fun. So we'll take it. I'll definitely be giving her a try after this, because this is a lot nicer scaling and nicer base damage. And then this max health damage is pretty significant, so we'll take that. Zarus. I feel like Zarus has kind of struggled recently. Given how potent Zarus can be isolating an enemy, he's receiving a range of changes aimed at reducing his overall burst potential. That's so rude. Health growth decreased, mana growth increased by a significant amount. His spear, physical power scaling, he only has 75% auto scaling now. That's unfortunate. Barricade, mana cost decrease, good, because that 80 is quite expensive. Spear, damage changed from 75 to 215 to 80 to 200, so a little bit of a late game nerf, not too much. And then the Coliseum damage decreased as well by 25 at all ranks. So This shouldn't hurt Zarus too much, right? I mean, I guess the basic attack scaling does hurt him pretty bad, and then the ult damage kind of hurts him. But it's not too bad. Health growth, 4 less health per level is kind of unfortunate for him, but maybe this keeps Zarus in check. I don't really know. I don't think Zarus is that crazy right now in the first place, so it's fine. I haven't really been playing him much. Zinx. Looks like a host of changes here for Zinx. Attack speed decreased slightly. Physical armor decreased. Mana decreased. Health or mana regen decreased. So make Zinx's mana management even harder, I guess. Why not? Ricochet. Damage decreased by 5 at all ranks. Stun duration decreased to that's just by 0.1 second at all ranks. That's probably fair. The stun does seem pretty oppressive most games. Bad medicine, mana cost. This was the slow. Mana cost decreased. Initial damage, magic power scaling. Okay, so better scaling. Explosion damage decreased. In late game by 20. Explosion, magical power scaling increased. So better scaling on the slow grenade. Yeah, better scaling on the slow grenade. A little bit less mana cost too is probably a good trade-off. And then healing decreased on her heal from 60 scaling to 140 to 50 to 130. So 10 at all ranks. So nice. What are the biggest hero changes that we're seeing here? This is not a lot of crazy hero changes. I think general Wukong nerfs definitely bring him back down to where he should be. I think most of these are really not that impactful, though. Like Twin Sparrow, these are not impactful. Skylar, these general buffs do make Skylar look like she would be better, especially late game. Definitely looks like late game Skylar could be spooky now. More not significant changes. Will be cool to see the new pull, though, coming out a little quicker. Bellica, I mean, these are not massive changes by any means. Iggy, there's no way Iggy is not going to be strong, right? This is going to make Iggy stronger. All of this makes Iggy stronger. And people already complain about Iggy being strong, so I think the Iggy changes probably do feel noticeable. The gadget, the Howie changes probably don't really feel that impactful. Drongo, this is significant damage boost to his ult. I will say Drongo's ult's going to be pretty spooky now. Countess, these are not impactful changes, really. I think she's still just as good. Yeah, I mean, I think the only real big changes that we have are Drongo's ult hits a lot harder. I mean, Iggy has got general, easier to use turrets and more damage coming out of his oil spill and faster movement during his ult. That's pretty significant. Kira and Murdock both getting very minor adjustments. Bellica getting very minor adjustments. Morn, same thing. These are really minor. Skylar, I think is going to be one of the more impactful ones. This is a good series of buffs for her. And then Wukong, a much needed series of nerfs. Yin more usable, Zarus a little bit less usable, Zinx kind of a give and take. So I think that's about it. It's kind of a wash for most of these heroes. It's a little give and take, but the big ones being Wukong general tune down and Skylar a general tune up, I think, and the Iggy changes I think are the most impactful ones here. So that's going to do it. Let me know your thoughts on the hero changes. Did your favorite hero get adjustments here? Did they hit nerfs? Did they get buffs? What do you like seeing here? I mean, I'm fine with most of these. They're really small changes in the first place. I think maybe the item ones will be more significant. So, speaking of which, let's get right into the item changes to close this one out. Not as many as the hero changes, but let's see what they've done here. Divine Pot, the multi-pot. Divine Pot currently provides too much value. Oh, if you say so, I guess. Health regen decreased. Mana regen decreased. I never buy this. It's not worth it. Unless you get in a really weird position where you have to back early, it's not worth taking. Obelisk. Condemn magic power scaling increased. I don't think that many people are building Obelisk right now, so Typhoon, Mirage dash speed decreased by 25%. It's supposed to be a fast dash, so that's weird that they would make that change. Polar Treads, the T2 of Moon Boots, movement speed increased. Wow, it's almost as if we just nerfed this down to 4%. Let's take it back up to 5. Whatever, guys. Alright, that's it for the crust and this tier 2 item. Carry items. Various carry items are receiving flat increase to their immediate power. Whether that's through physical power in the case of Impaired or Terminus Ashbringer, to make them feel more like more meaningful power spikes compared to attack speed options. Okay, let's see what they've done. That's kind of spooky sounding if we're being honest. Ashbringer, cost increased by 100 in exchange for 5 extra power. That is not beneficial at all to Ashbringer, whatever. Dust Devil, 1% extra movement speed, yippee. At least they didn't increase the cost with it, right? Imperator, oh my goodness. 50 cost decrease and 5 extra power on Imperator? Okay, well, that is pretty crazy. That's going to be probably a must build on every carry, right? The 55 physical power is really hard to come by. Wow, that's insane. Nuke rounds, Havoc ability damage increased from 4 to 20 to 10 to 20. So that means if you build this first item like I do on Kira, you immediately get 10% bonus damage on all of your abilities. That is crazy. That's a first item on Kira on Twin, if I've ever seen it right there. 10%, because that gives you the freedom to build a non-crit item second as well, and still be dealing 10% bonus damage with all of your abilities for the entire early game. That's crazy. That's crazy. 10% ability damage is crazy on that right off rip. Okay, that's going to get nerfed. They're going to nerf that. That's too much. Anoxian multi-shot damage decreased from 12 to 40 to 10 to 40. So if they're like way out on the edge of the multi-shot, they will only take 10%. That's kind of weird that that's a thing. Terminus, cost increased by 100 for 10 extra power. Okay, wow, 55 power on Terminus too is pretty valuable. That's not bad. And then Viper, diligence ability and on-hit damage amplifier increased from 8% to 10%. So yeah, Viper stepping up into that good combination role with Sky Splitter as well. That is interesting. That is very interesting that they've decided to do this series of changes. I think Imperator looks really strong, right? 50 less cost for 55 power is wild. Terminus getting 55 power now too is pretty wild. Assassin items, Deathstalker. I'm a big Deathstalker fan, so 5% extra attack speed on Deathstalker, we will gladly take it. Makes it a solid second item on a lot of carries if they have multiple tanks, so we'll take that. No cost increase to go with it either. Salvation, physical power increased, and health decreased. Okay, kind of give and take changes on Salvation. I'm not a big Salvation fan, so... Tainted Blade, health decreased. It's almost as if we just buffed this to give 300 health. Let's take it back down to 375. Alright, go back and forth with your changes all day long. We'll keep playing your game regardless. Mage, Noxia, cost decrease to 2900. Noxia is already a really solid item because it gives 20 flat haste. So 2900, easier to get online. Solid burst, it's a solid early game item for sure because that 20 haste may make it more attractive as a second item for sure. Wraith Leggings getting 1% movement speed just like Dust Devil did. It's nice to see. Galaxy Greaves getting 1% extra movement speed as well, so movement speed enjoyers rejoice. Yeah, that's nice. True Silver, I'd love to see some True Silver buffs here. Magical power increased and health decreased. Okay, that's a fair trade. It makes it more attractive on Gideon for sure to come with 10 extra power and 50 less health. So we'll take that. And then tank items. Frostguard is seeing a stat change, is now gaining health in exchange for less armors and the removal of its health regen. Cost decreased to 3,000, 200 health added, 5 of each armor gone, and its health regen being removed. That's actually a pretty favorable change. I definitely prefer that. I definitely prefer 200 health and 40 of each armor, and no regen, over 45 of each armor and 100 base health regen. So that's strong, and a cost decrease to go with it. I'll definitely be picking up Frostguard more against attack speed team comps for sure. Tainted Garb, Blighted Thorns damage decreased. What a joke. Come on, man. You're supposed to make the tainted items better, not worse. What are we doing? Blighted Thorns physical armor scaling increased from 30 to 36. I guess if you build 4 or 5 physical armor items, this still gets good value, but it's a shame that they've got to nerf it like that, because it is a solid first item against like Greystones in solo lane and stuff. Unbroken Will cost decrease. We will take that. Void Helm cost decrease as well. Health decreased by 50. Armor increased. Okay, 500 health was one of the things that made this item special, but the cost decrease is fair, I feel like, for that kind of hit. And that's all the item changes. So most impactful item changes I'm seeing are, Frostguard's kind of more attractive. Movement speed across all the items, Wraith Leggings, Galaxy Greaves, and Dust Devil, all getting slight buffs. None of these are really too crazy impactful, I don't think, except for, like, all of those are kind of fine. I think the Imperator one is probably one of the biggest, right? Makes it more attractive even before you're at 100% crit, because 55 power is a lot to come by on the physical side for a slightly cheaper cost than it was before. Ashbringer taking a little hit here, 100 cost for 5 power is not really worth it. I think nuke rounds may just straight up be the most impactful change here, because you can build it first item and get 10% bonus ability damage just right off rip. Is really crazy. But some really minor item changes overall. I think I probably will pick up Frostguard more. I probably will pick up Tainted Guard more, but less in the early game, and then slide it into a later part in my build. And definitely will be picking up Terminus a little bit more, because 55 power again is hard to come by on those big power builds. But Nuke Rounds and Imperator both looking very good. So we'll take that, and then of course for some reason the nerf of the Divine Pot. I already don't pick this up, so I don't really care if it gets nerfed. But nice, good selection of minor item changes to go with those hero changes. And that's all that we've got. Some bug fixes. Made it to the end. Thank you for that. We truly appreciate your ongoing engagement and support. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts, so don't hesitate to share your feedback. Plenty of exciting content on the horizon, so be sure to follow on social media. Until then, see you in the game. Yeah, a solid patch, just keeping things a little bit balanced, not shaking it up too much, I don't think. A couple minor hero changes, a couple minor item changes. I expect to see Wukong come back down to earth. I expect Iggy to be a little bit stronger. I expect Skylar to be a little stronger overall. The rest of these are kind of so minor that it's going to be hard to notice. The yen changes do look decent, and then as far as the item changes, I don't really see this like super impacting a lot of people's builds. I think Nuke Rounds is a lot more attractive. Imperator is a lot more attractive. Deathstalker being better is cool, personally. True Silver, I expect more Gideons and stuff to pick up True Silver. Because 10 extra power for 50 mana or 50 health is a good trade-off. And then Frostguard getting a rework is pretty decent, because I probably will pick up Frostguard more. With it having 200 health and 40 of both armor is a pretty good stat line. It's a better stat line than 45 of each and no health. So that is going to do it. Really sweet prize fighter, or I guess they're calling it Fight Night. They're calling it Fight Night Crunch, or Prize Fighter Crunch, but Fight Night Crunch, really sweet skin, the face of this version 1.5.7 patch. Look for it Tuesday, folks. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Thanks for all the support on the recent tier list video. Come hang out with us in live streams where we'll be testing out this meta on the Tuesday after this patch goes live, May 20th. So we'll see y'all there. Thanks for supporting the channel and enjoying, and we will catch you on the next one. Keep enjoying Pred, guys. Just keep enjoying Pred.